Bruce Franks Jr. grew up on the tough streets of St. Louis, where hip-hop was more than music. It was a lifeline. Under the stage name Ooops, he poured his life into battle rap, earning respect in underground leagues with sharp rhymes and raw emotion. But behind the clever punchlines lay real pain. At 6 years old, Bruce watched in horror as his 9-year-old brother Christopher was shot and killed in front of their home. This childhood trauma haunted him, fueling every verse he wrote. In 2004, a stray bullet struck Bruce in the knee, ending his dreams of a track career and adding a physical scar to his emotional wounds. These tragedies hardened him, but also gave his raps an unmistakable urgency. Each time Ooops stepped into a rap battle, he wasn't just vying for a win. He was fighting demons, channeling grief into art, and giving voice to the voiceless kids of St. Louis who, like him, knew loss too young. With every heartfelt bar, Bruce turned personal pain into power. Ferguson awakening, activist on the front lines. In August 2014, the streets of Ferguson, Missouri erupted in protest after the police shooting of Michael Brown. Amid the megaphones and marching crowds, Bruce Franks Jr. found his second calling. He had never been an activist, but the outrage and sorrow around Brown's death lit a fire inside him. The fearless energy that made him a battle rap standout now propelled him into the streets to demand justice. Known locally through his rap battles, Bruce used that recognition to rally young people and call for change. He protested for 400 days straight, long after the news cameras left, braving tear gas, pepper spray, arrests, and even a police beating caught on body cam footage. None of it stopped him. On those Ferguson front lines, Ooops transformed from entertainer to true activist. The battles he fought with verses on stage felt small. The real fight was in the streets, with lives and justice on the line. Ferguson was his crucible, forging a new purpose, to take the community's pain and frustration and turn them into political change. From street soldier to state representative. Galvanized by Ferguson, Bruce made an extraordinary decision. He would run for public office. It sounded improbable, a battle rapper with no political pedigree taking on the establishment, but Franks never shied away from a fight. In 2016, at 31, he ran for a seat in the Missouri House of Representatives, representing his hometown district. He faced a well-connected incumbent from a family that long dominated local politics. Bruce was the outsider, the upstart, with a backwards cap and a bullhorn, daring to challenge the old guard. When he initially lost the Democratic primary by a razor-thin margin, many assumed his bid was over, but allegations of irregularities and absentee ballots surfaced, and the election results didn't add up. Refusing to be silenced, Franks took his challenge to court. A judge agreed there were problems and ordered a rare do-over election. This time, with the community behind him, Bruce won in a landslide. The victory sent shockwaves through Missouri politics. The protester from Ferguson and battle rapper from the streets was headed to the state capitol, a triumph of grassroots passion over machine politics. Battles in the House chamber. When Bruce Franks Jr. took his seat in the Missouri House in 2017, he brought his Ooops persona with him, fire and authenticity intact. In a legislature dominated by veteran politicians, the young black lawmaker from St. Louis stood out. Drawing on his own experiences, he became a fierce advocate on issues of violence and poverty. He declared youth violence a public health epidemic, sponsoring a resolution that passed and formally recognized the crisis, marking June 7th as Christopher Harris Day in honor of his late brother. By inscribing his family's tragedy into state law, Bruce ensured the fight against youth homicide had a permanent place in Missouri's conscience. He didn't stop there. Franks reached across the aisle, securing funds for youth summer jobs in disadvantaged communities and co-sponsoring a bipartisan Veterans Bill of Rights. His speeches on the House floor felt like extended battle rap verses, rhythmic, impassioned, unfiltered. The chamber fell silent as he spoke about people left behind in violent neighborhoods or the need for criminal justice reform. His lyrical skill translated into electrifying oratory. His activist heart drove real change, yet Bruce didn't abandon his activist roots. On Black Friday 2017, during protests over police misconduct, he joined a march inside a local mall. When police moved in, chaos erupted, and Bruce was yanked to the ground and arrested, one of 7 detained. The sight of a state lawmaker pinned by police for standing up to injustice proved he was still a street soldier by night. The weight of survival. Outwardly, Representative Franks was a rising star, a young black lawmaker bridging worlds. But privately, years of carrying his community's burdens and his own trauma took a heavy toll. He never fully healed from witnessing his brother's death, and new tragedies kept coming. In 2018, his godson and a close friend were killed by gun violence in separate incidents. Each funeral dredged up old pain. Bruce had spent so much energy saving others that he hadn't saved himself. He began grappling with crippling anxiety, depression, and survivor's guilt, questioning why he was still here when so many he loved were gone. In winter 2018-19, Bruce sank into despair, coming terrifyingly close to ending his life one frigid night. He had a plan, at home, with a firearm, quick and final. At that moment, a knock came at his door. A young political canvasser, recognizing Ooops and Representative Franks, thanked him for being a hero. That simple thank you pierced his hopelessness. Bruce put down the gun and chose to live. The toughest fight he faced was with himself, and with a stranger's timely words, he survived to fight another day. Resignation and St. Louis Superman. In May 2019, Bruce announced his resignation from the Missouri House, his voice trembling as he spoke of the honor of serving and the personal cost. He laid bare his struggles with anxiety, depression, and PTSD. The chamber was silent as lawmakers from both parties gave him a standing ovation, some wiping tears, recognizing his courage to prioritize healing. Bruce later left St. Louis, writing on social media that he couldn't heal in the epicenter of so much pain. It was a hard choice. He loved his city, but survival came first. The Missouri Ethics Commission later found he had mistakenly spent campaign funds on personal expenses and failed to file accurate reports, fining him $14,000. Bruce paid the fine and owned the errors, but his focus was elsewhere. A film crew had documented his final year in office, resulting in St. Louis Superman, a 28-minute documentary capturing his triumphs and pain. It showed him mentoring kids, passing his youth violence resolution, and weeping over his brother's death. The film won festival awards, and in early 2020, an Academy Award nomination for Best Documentary Short Subject. The nomination came when Bruce needed validation most, reminding him life was worth living. New beginnings in the desert. After leaving office, Bruce moved to Arizona for a fresh start, focusing on fatherhood and mental health, but his activist passion didn't fade. In summer 2020, nationwide protests against racial injustice reached Phoenix, and Bruce was back on the front lines. On August 9, 2020, the 6-year anniversary of Michael Brown's death, he led a march that ended in chaos outside Phoenix Police Headquarters. Bruce and others were arrested, facing charges of aggravated assault, rioting, and even being a street gang. Investigations later revealed the charges were baseless, based on police testimony without video evidence. By March 2021, all charges were dropped, vindicating Bruce. He called out the strategic plan to silence us, reinforcing his reputation as a fearless voice. He then focused on community work, mentoring young activists and working with prison reform initiatives, hoping for a quieter, hopeful chapters. Scandal and fall from grace. In 2022, Bruce faced a devastating scandal. Engaged to Alexia Galloway, then executive director of the Maricopa County Democratic Party, he was subcontracted through his company, Black Printing Enterprise, to send 100,000 campaign mailers. When voters reported not receiving them, an investigation revealed Bruce had forged proof of mailing documents. The mailers were never sent. He had also failed to deliver 10,000 mailers for a school board election, pocketing $2,400. The fallout was swift. Alexia and the party chair resigned, and Bruce faced 10 felony counts, 9 for forgery, 1 for theft. The scandal shocked supporters and the battle rap community, who remembered his soul-bearing 2015 performance against Daylit. The man once hailed as a hero was now a cautionary tale. Redemption and reflection. Facing possible prison time, Bruce took a plea deal in late 2024, pleading guilty to 1 low-level felony theft count for the $2,400 job, with forgery charges dropped. He was placed on probation, ordered to pay restitution, and enrolled in a diversion program. By April 2025, after fulfilling all requirements, the charges were dismissed. Bruce expressed remorse for the harm caused, focusing on family and a new clothing line with messages of resilience. At 40, he's at a crossroads, determined to rebuild trust. His story, from rap battles to legislative wins, from scandal to redemption, shows a fighter who keeps getting up. The question lingers, What do we do when our Superman is only human?
Blood stains on the sidewalk, pain in my shoes, same scars my block nurse. Nothing left to lose, from ciphers with the truth to funerals and booths. I watched my brother's spirit rise, saw God in the youth. Trauma thick as the night air, grinding for the rent. Battle rap was confession, I went there to repent. Oops on the card, turned struggle into applause. Every punchline shadowed by a permanent loss. Ferguson flames, megaphone screaming out names. Battle rap, the politics won't stay in my lane. Not about to let the newsroom consume the narrative. Riot lines, righteous mind, heartbreak imperative. Asked for Bruce and got oops. Marching through the gas, tears mixed with pepper spray. Can't outlast the past. Grabbed the bullhorn, made them all listen. Turned my vision to a mission, made a couple bad decisions. It's wicked, see Mike Brown's ghost saying oops, asking me questions. Chalk body outlines, I'm desperate looking for lessons. City full of death, boy, it's pain in the pen. Lost 100 battles, still found myself again. Who else you know rose, fell, and still stands? Asked from Bruce and got oops, Franks. I'm your Superman. City full of death, boy, it's pain in the pen. Lost 100 battles, still found myself again. Who else you know rose, fell, and still stands? Asked for Bruce and got oops, Franks. I'm your Superman. Primary lost by inches, ballots looking real shady. Took the judge to court.
Hey, it's the Algorithm Institute where the stories are told. From the battle rap culture, speaking facts that we know. It's the Algorithm Institute. Go like and subscribe if you digging the content that we provide. If you listen to us, you ain't hearing no lies. We better than the mother bloggers all combined. It's the Algorithm Institute of battle rap. It's the Algorithm Institute of battle rap.
Leave a comment in the comments. We reply to every comment.
Yo, thanks for tapping in with the Algorithm Institute of Battle Rap. Make sure you like and subscribe. Oh, and get the pay-per-view for Shine's card.